Hello everyone. Very good noon to all. Today, on the third day of the presentation on American literature, I am going to make my presentation on from folk to literature, enduring influence of Bob Dylan in lyrics. These are my personal details. These are the points which I'm gonna discuss in the presentation. Let's first begin with the introduction of the poet. Our lyricist, Bob Dylan. His full name is Robert Allen Zimmerman. Was born on the 24th of May 1941 in Duluth, Minnesota, USA. In his earlier day, in his youth, he started singing in cafes and clubs of Greenwich Village. He also got Nobel Prize in Literature, though as being a songwriter or a lyricist, he got the award of Nobel Prize in Literature in 2016 for having created new poetic expressions within the great American song tradition. Uh, his songs are rooted in the rich tradition of American folk music and are influenced by the poets of modernism and the beatnik movement. So, from his youth to till the death, we can find a transition from folk to rock. He started to explore upon folk music, and as time passes his ideas on music has been changed and developed. In his songs, we can find themes like social struggles, political protest, love, and religion, like enlightenment society, idea of enlightenment society. He moved from folk to rock music in 1916s and infusing the lyrics of rock and roll. These are the first side is another side of Bob Dylan. In that column there are the all the famous albums of Bob Dylan, and on the other side these are the famous songs of Bob Dylan. From the 90th second half of the 90th century till the 20th century, songs of Bob Dylan has been popularized a lot. So what is the reason of the of such popularization of the songs of Bob Dylan? So Bachelor, yes. Bob Bachelor. Bob Batchelor describes in his article that Dylan's work over past 25 years has also been both timely and late, because some songs and some performances have a valedictory quality to them and show an increasing awareness of morality. T.S. Eliot's essay, Ezra Pound, his metric and poetry offers a possibly here our Adrian Greffel, in his article 21st Century Dylan, late and timely, notes that T.S. Eliot's in his essay, Ezra Pound, his years must alter, he must seek new influences, he will have different emotions to express. Now the Bob Dylan as well having influence or popularity over 25 years, and this is how the criteria of T.S. Eliot's of changing expression and ideas of Bob Dylan fermented. Bob Batchelor, in his article, also says that via Dylan's influence, popular music transformed into something akin to collective storytelling. So, the songs of Bob Dylan is also being categorized in a literature also. Now, let's look at Bob Dylan's fame as a literary writer. Though Bob Dylan has not written poetry, rather, he has written lyrics, songs, but his songs are being considered as poetry, and thus he get an award of, he got a Nobel Prize in Literature in 2016 for developing poetic expressions in songs. He was the first person to get Nobel Prize for songs or lyrics, and he was also the first one who got a prize since Toni Morrison's in 1993. The Oxford Book of American Poetry includes his song include his song Desolation Row in its 2006 edition, and Cambridge University Press released the Cambridge Companion to Bob Dylan in 2009. Billy Collins, also a former United States poet laureate, says that most songs lyrics don't really hold up without music, and they aren't supposed to. Bob Dylan is in the 2% club of songwriters whose lyrics are interesting on the page event without the harmonica and guitar and his very distinctive voice. I think he does qualify as sorry I think he does qualify as poetry. So Billy Collins in one article says that he can consider Bob Dylan not only as a songwriter but rather as a poet. The Swedish Academy also credited Mr. Dylan with having created new poetic expression within the great American song tradition. Now in 2006 when 2016 when Bob Dylan get Nobel Prize and he is supposed to get speech. So in this speech Dylan talks about the literary influence of him. He talks about way back to his childhood or his days when he was in grammar school, where he learned a lot about literary works like Don Quixote, Moby Dick, Robinson Crusoe, Gulliver's Travels, Tale of Two Cities. And he says that these works have had a great influence of him to write songs. And thus the ideas which is described by the these works are having most influence of in his songs. He says that way of looking at life, an understanding of human nature, a standard to measure things by. So all these things he learned and he got by reading of all these books. So this is it is not so that he is getting Nobel Prize in literature and he is not connected with literature. Rather, he has a great influence of literature over him. He says that I took all that with me when I started composing lyrics, and the themes from those books worked their way into many of my songs, either knowingly or unintentionally. I wanted to write songs unlike anything anybody ever heard, and these themes were fundamental. So see how he also includes in his speech how this works and how literature has shaped his ideas, which he described in his songs and lyrics. But at the ending part of the speech he quotes something. He says something that though he has written lyrics and these are being considered as poetry, but his songs are not to be supposed to read but rather has to listen. He says that that's what songs are too. Our songs are alive in the land of the living, but songs are unlike literature. They are meant to be sung, not read, as Shakespeare's play were meant to be acted, not acted on the stage, not to be read. Just as lyrics in songs are meant to sung, not read on the page. And I hope some of you get the chance to listen to these lyrics and the way they were intended to be heard in concert or on record, or however people are listening songs these days. I written once again to Homer, who says, "Sing in me, O muse, and through me tell the story." So he wants to emphasize that though my songs are being characterized in the category of literature, in the poetry of literature, but it is not only meant to be read, but rather it meant to heard, listen. Bob Dylan is one. When he got a Nobel Prize in Literature, he was also being categorized. He was also being criticized a lot because, as a songwriter, he is getting Nobel Prize in Literature by in In Bob Dylan and the Dialect of Enlightenment, critical lyricist of high capitalism, Tony Fluxman notes few things. He says that by being sensitive to the various alienating situation he finds himself in, Dylan is able to capture the varied and settled way in which Enlightenment society maintain its control. He also says Bob Dylan as a profound critic of the forms of domination in the late capitalist society. The songs of Dylan is surrounded by the themes of enlightenment society, like this have a political concern, social concern, self his self ideas are also being reflected in that, what he thinks about the situations are going on in the society and how these situations can be overcome. There are sophisticated critical perspectives, mythical touches, where human situations are unchangeable, political criticism, though it is also told that Dylan was was writing about politics as well, but though he was a profound critic of politics. He was social institutions are approached through the artist's own experience. He also done self criticism in personal realm and refuses involvement from confusion of the society and evil mechanism of the society. So by his songs he want to spread the idea of enlightenment society and how the condition of society can be changed. In his works like Blowing in the Wind, All Along the Watchtower, there is also there we can see a kind of protest shown by Bob Dylan. I would like to conclude my presentation with a quote by Bob Dylan himself. He quote, "You should always take the best from the past, leave the worst back there, and go forward into the future." He unquote. So, in the beginning of his career, he started to follow traditional folk music, and now he is not completely abandoning that folk tradition, but rather he is expressing his own view to look at the things and look at the things in a very much different way, which is not there in folk tradition earlier. So he looked forward to the into the future, like which is told by Dylan himself. These are the work citations. Thank you. Now I'm open for questions.
Vishali, what is the best way to describe Bob Dylan and his music?
Means in which way?
Music.
What is the best way to describe Bob Dylan?
According
I cannot understand what you actually want to say. Because I have mentioned about his career, his works as considered as a poetry and songs also. So, in which context are you talking about? Can you specify something? Okay, let me think. I'll answer you after the after second question.
Shali, despite of getting in his Nobel Prize acceptance speech that he did not write songs with the intention of creating literature. What was the reason Bob Dylan was awarded the Nobel Prize in literature?
Yes, right. The main reason of him being awarded by Nobel Prize, even though he is writing songs only, lyrics only, which are on a surface way not being considered as literature at all. The main reason is that the songs which is written by him is having more concern with human society, which are supposed to be presented by work of arts. So this is in this way his songs are being categorized and in category of literature and thus got Nobel Prize in literature. Okay, now read this question. I was not able to understand the question properly, but yes, your question is what is the best way to describe Bob Dylan and his music? So, his music are the one who are his music are dealing with the themes of social enlightenment, sorry, enlightenment society, right? His songs are being concerned with the current social issues and situations. So the best way to describe Bob Dylan and his music is quite confusing for me, sorry.